Don't I look pretty with my long blonde hair and deep blue eyes? Don't I look pretty? I'm getting on the bus now. You can smell my hair as I walk past you. I'm walking to the back of the bus now. I'm walking. I'm turning around now. I'm sitting down now. I'm crossing my legs now. And you're watching me. My flower bed's all wet now, lover. Listen to my flower bed. Now take my boots off. Yes. Now rip my stockings off with your teeth. Yes! Don't my feet look pretty? Touch them. Tickle them. I'm leaving now. I'm exiting the bus now. Don't my feet look pretty? Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Tyra here with another struggle review, here to discuss Girl 6. Now this movie is from 1996 and it stars Theresa Randle. Now before we get into all things 6 is for sex, I need you guys to drop down and subscribe to my channel and like this video. I'm going to give you guys a moment to do that, and then we're going to come back and discuss all things days of phone sex. Before we had Pornhub, before there was our OnlyFans, there was Girl 6, and there was phone sex.
Go back.
Now that you guys have hopefully subscribed to see more of me, let's get into this movie. But before we jump into the video, I have to give a shout out to the person who paid for and requested this film. So if you happen to turn into Girl 7, it's not because of me, it's because of this person right here. Thank you so much for supporting me and paying for this content. Now getting into this movie was directed and produced by Spike Lee, but shockingly, it is not written by Spike Lee. This movie fits so well in with that era of when Spike didn't go right and went left, but we still love the movies and him anyway. But this movie, it just kind of feels like it's from a man's perspective. But this movie is actually written by a female playwright and screenwriter by the name of Suzan-Lori Parks. She also wrote Their Eyes Were Watching God, the new recent remake of Native Son, and she also did The United States versus Billie Holiday. If you watch my review on that, you already know how I feel about that film, so I could totally see how she could be a woman and write things that feel like they are coming straight from a man's mind, because child, how they did Billie Holiday in that movie was just tragic. But regardless of that, this movie is shoved right on in there with those subcategories of Spike Lee movies that just didn't hit for a lot of people. Pretty much many movies after Malcolm X that were just considered a down spiral. These movies were misunderstood, ambitious, confusing, and often not as successful as his earlier works, and earned a cult-like status afterwards. These movies include Crooklyn, Clockers, She Hate Me, He Got Game, Bamboozled, that either barely recouped the production cost or underperformed entirely as a whole. Girl 6 is probably the film that was panned and hated most by critics and made the least money. But if you are a true Spike Lee fan, you probably love all, if not most, of these movies and find something that you can connect to, regardless if, people felt like Spike Lee fell off at this point. Now, is Girl 6 worth all of these harsh critiques? Absolutely. Girl 6 is erotic, pretentious, satire, humorous, dark, unconventional train wreck of a movie. But if you love and understand it, you will appreciate all that comes with it. I am one of those people. Now, we cannot even jump into the movie without discussing the soundtrack first, just based on the opening song. Spoke to me, I can't believe it, but she spoke to me. Oh, Prince is touching everything moving in this film. Every single song used here is by Prince or Prince adjacent with another artist. Like, it enhances this movie. If you are a Spike Lee fan, then you know that he loves Prince down just as a person, his artistry, they were really close. So the fact that they could collaborate here, it just enhances and makes this film even more awesome. Not to mention that Prince, he is just gonna slap like hot thing, ow, feeling 21. You gotta do Prince shakes and shit. At home, there's 17-year-old boys, and there I feel fun. I was been in a game called the Disciples, high off crack, toting a machine gun. Ow, da-da-da, bam, all the good time. Pink cashmere, ooh, here I go again, yeah, follow your love all over. Oh, it's just, oh gosh. I just love that he is even attached to this movie. For the time, this was such a risque and erotic movie. Who better to do a soundtrack for it than the purple one? Now we open here with Miss Theresa Randle as Judy auditioning for a role in the movie with one of the first real-life two directors that we get in this movie, Quentin Tarantino here, and she is made to feel extremely uncomfortable. Now going back to watch this movie older, of course, I noticed a whole lot of things that I didn't notice when I was a teenager. For one, the opening monologue here is Nola Darling from She's Gotta Have It. You better plug your own movie, Spike Lee. But it's very befitting from this for this movie. I have not seen She's Gotta Have It in a minute, but everybody named Mama knows that Nola Darling was outside and it was all about her being fluid, free, and open, you know, sexually, being able to do what and whoever, whenever she wanted to. And it's very befitting for this movie because going back to watch this now, a lot of this is based in her being sexualized, whether she is auditioning for a role or she is working as a sex phone operator. Or if we are just strictly dialing it back to every single man that she encounters in this movie sexualizes her physically. Didn't notice that before. Judy is just not solely embarrassed by this condescending, suggestive, just asshole of a director by Quentin Tarantino suggesting that, you know, she needs to be topless, you need to show me your tits, at which she does, but she immediately storms out. It's just not that whole scenario making her uncomfortable. It's just her being an actress and trying to get herself out there as a whole. Your job is to audition. If that director says jump, you as an actress is supposed to say how high if you want this role. And that's when we get into, you know, power dynamics with most directors being male, and you get into misogyny and, you know, some women at times being taken advantage of, and you get into casting couches. It's just so much that you have to sacrifice. And she is getting into this inner complex of what I don't want to do for a role. I am extremely uncomfortable with showing my breast, and I don't feel like I should have to. But mind you, at the beginning of the movie, in the first audition, she actually does. We do get from Judy, if nothing else, is her passion and dedication to being an actress from the beginning of the movie. That's whether she is a scab, working for low wages. I can't even go pee as an extra. I have no time for myself. I have to work multiple jobs. I'm the cold, you know, check-in girl. I'm handing out flyers on the street. But if I have to do this to pay for my craft, I am willing to do that. And if I don't show my breasts, there are, you know, 400 other women out there auditioning for the same role who will and might get it. Now, getting into the movie not giving us conducive storyline or fleshed out characters or well-written plots, we can start with the characters that come and go and just have no depth, no meaning, and serve no purpose. Even when we get into the agent, John Turturro, you know, the Spike Lee movie staple, he's always somewhere there. Being the, you know, the worst looking agent I've ever seen with this trash mullet wig, telling her, you know, if Quentin Tarantino asks you to show your tits, you show your tits. This is a part of the business. You are blowing such a big opportunity. And he is one of the first people, as far as her acting, who just instantly drops her. I like it because we have multiple people of not only, you know, male, but also a female telling you that you need to relinquish a part of yourself that you know in your mind that you are uncomfortable with. We not only get this from a white director, and then we also get it from the black female acting coach. It's coming and it's hitting on all cylinders. Now, regardless of these characters not being fleshed out or having any real depth, that acting coach scene will forever be one of my favorite scenes from this movie. Suzanne Batson, actual real life acting coach to the girls. They y'all make raisin! They y'all make raisin! Like, taking off your top, honey bunch. Make it on! You have no idea how many times I've said, drop into the pain. Where is the pain? Get to the bottom, honey bunch. Like, grow up, make it on, show him your tits. Like, it's, you know, it's comical. I love it, but it's like, here we have this black female acting coach telling me to grow up. I'm gonna drop you. I have taken you as far as I can. If you haven't gotten it through your head right now that this is what it takes to be an actress in the industry, then I don't know what to tell you. Now, throughout the entire movie, do we continue on with that passion that she has for acting, or, you know, honing in on her craft? I was like, it would have been so dope, because if you notice, when you meet Judy, she is constantly switching up her looks. Honey, she has a wig for every other day. Just amazing. Like, the costume design and the wigs and the makeup in this movie is phenomenal. We already have this lighting. Like, the cinematography in this movie is on point like a motherfucker. Like, this movie is so beautiful, and I'm sure that that is all due to Malik Shahid doing the cinematography for this movie. He also did the cinematography for Belly, you know, all that good lighting. Like, how we are lighting this black skin, just, you better do that shit, Malik. He also did Clockers, and he also did He Got Game. Like, this man deserves a reward. Like, every single shot here in this movie is just absolutely framed to perfection. Like, it is just so awesome. Like, I just loved it. It is one of the few things that entranced me to watch this movie repeatedly. Not to mention the other thing. You thought we weren't gonna talk about Theresa? Oh, we gonna talk about Theresa. Miss Theresa Randle, where you at? And why did Hollywood play this beautiful woman to the left so hard? I always felt like they were like, well, we got Layla Rashawn. Like, we can only have, you know, so many beautiful women at a time. Like, why was this woman not in more movies? The main reason why I gravitated to this movie so hard, because it was one, if not maybe the only movie where she got to play the lead. She was forever, you know, beeline, small part, side character, barely saw her. I'm sure, you know, we remember her mostly from movies like Sugar Hill and probably Bad Boys, but like, get into the beauty. Get into the beauty. I don't even think that this movie would have worked as well if she was not here. She just illuminates. Like, I used to watch this movie like, you know what? As soon as I get older, I'm gonna look just like Judy. I'm gonna look just like Girl 6. I'm gonna look just like Theresa Randle. You know, it ain't that, but still, like, like the body, the skin tone, her face, her cheek, just, girl, like, between this, I think we had Living for Natalie Cole, where she got the lead in that, but just, which I love, but just a big production like this, we just didn't see sis no more. It was this, Living for Natalie Cole, and then we might get to see her in the Bad Boys franchise. Other than that, Hollywood said, find me. How dare you? Now, getting into the business of fast money and Judy becoming a phone sex operator, I thought that this would have been a great opportunity to show her acting chops, for her to, you know, switch up her personas, her mood, give, you know, all of these different calls and just all of this different energy. But we kind of just settle on Lovely and her doing different things there. But when it comes to her character acting, we really do this when we get into her paying homage to old black actors that makes sense, but then it doesn't make sense. Of course, it is immaculate, all that good Dorothy Dandridge, and like shot for shot, frame for frame, it is just matching perfectly. Like, she looks gorgeous. Or when we go back and we get, you know, I'm Foxy Cleopatra, I'm a Whole Lot of Woman, we pay, you know, some homage to Coffee, Pam Grier, and we go back to those blaxploitation exploitative moments. Like, they serve a purpose, but they don't. They are wonderful to look at, and it adds to that comical side. This is a dark comedy, but it's like, why are we here? Why are we here? These moments aren't really serving a purpose. If we are supposed to be watching somebody who wants to be an actress, I want to see her constantly transform and use, her being a phone sex operator to give off different characters and different personas that way. And we just go on this wild ride with her just to go, oh my God, she is a bomb ass actress. It almost pretty much became, even though it was just unconventional as a whole, it becomes two stories in one. Like, I would have loved a whole separate phone sex girl 6 movie, and I also would have loved, Judy's journey and, Hollywood as a black actress trying to discover herself and, the will to say what she won't do. Those things work really well separately. When you try to put it together in such an unconventional way, all while trying to give comedy, all of these, darker elements, paying homage to people like Dorothy Dandridge or hell, Thelma from Good Times, like that whole Good Times, Jefferson mix up, shooting the phone, like going off into more of that satire, can I come in? Can I come over? Can I come in? Can I come over? Ooh, like, of course, it's funny, but it's just like, okay. Us just focusing on the phone sex industry as a whole would have went really far. Like, I love the entire dynamic of, girl 17, girl 75, girl 6, and these girls just being sexualized, not actually having a name, don't really have, an identity. They are just here to serve the caller, which are, 85% men. That whole dynamic there, them having to, unless they ask you, are WHIT. Utilizing all of the characters that we have here. We have Madonna here. Like, for what? Why was she here? Like, there was no purpose. We have Naomi Campbell here. We did not utilize her. We got Jennifer Lewis. Jennifer Lewis is here, not playing somebody's mother, and we did not use her. Digging more into those dynamics, like the lighting and the shots, just that whole styling. Once we get into the call center and we get, all the close-ups of the women's face, and you hear, what they are saying to entrance these men. Meanwhile, they are occupying their time elsewhere. Like, those are the best moments in the movie, but we aren't really focusing on that because the core of the story is supposed to be about Judy and her wanting to be an actress and her sexuality. But it made me go back to the acting coach telling her, hey, make it art. And it seemed like she kind of internalized, I can make this art, I can grow up. But then she winds up internalizing the way that these men are treating her via the phone call. And this completely sidetracks her from what this job is supposed to really be. It's supposed to be temporary. I'm supposed to make some really quick money to not only pay my bills, but save up enough money for me to go and move to Hollywood and, live out my best black actress dreams. But think about the movie that we could have got if we would have solely focused on the aspect of phone sex. Phone sex is just so intriguing to me, in my opinion. Long before we had, OnlyFans, long before we had anybody's Pornhub, long before, all of these things were just at the access of your fingertips in the push of a button. Of course, we had, pornography, but just that allure of what phone sex is, what you have to be, what you can transform into, what you can give somebody intimately, and they cannot see you. Those are my favorite moments when we really are digging into what it is to be a phone sex operator, the way that they are communicating with these people, entrancing them, the people who call and repeatedly call them over and over, some people not even calling for sex, some people calling to talk, some people calling as a couple, some people calling to hear your fucking grocery list. Oyster crackers, soup, I put soup in the oyster crackers, bread, quiche, celery, like all the different ways that somebody could possibly get off. Those shots, those dynamics that we get, side by side. But when we get into Judy, what does it say that, I'm being paid here for these phone calls to, give this talk, be sexualized, fulfill the fantasy. But when I go out in my everyday life on the street and getting all of these sexual advances and touches from the Indian store clerk that I don't even know, who just feels like they can possess me and possess my body because of who I am, how I look, and where I may work, or people who don't know me and I'm just auditioning for a role, or my ex-husband who just keeps on rolling up at his dismay, or even Jimmy, who is my neighbor, who is a man who just happens to be my friend, but when we initially meet him, he is asking, can I tighten you up, like just let me give you some, you seem a little tense. Like, what does that do to the female psyche? The parallels between the phone sex industry and her being an actress was absolutely the same. And I wish the movie would have made that more cohesive and dive more into that. What is the risk? You keep hearing that, you know, oh, you have the pipes, you're going to be incredible. But mind you, when she goes to interview for Jennifer Lewis and she goes to interview with Madonna, outside of Madonna asking her was her clit pierced, it was still, you know, technically about the job and about the work and about, you know, oh, this being more so in your home and you needing your own singular phone, at which she goes to work for the other industry. But when we went on the interview with the man, oh, it instantly turned into her body. Have you ever considered being, you know, in a peep show? This is good, you know, clean work. Nobody's gonna touch you. She is just instantly degraded in the same way that she would be if she went on an audition, on the way that some of these directors were, you know, treating her on these sets. But Judy wanting so badly to be an actress and her turning to phone sex that was just supposed to be a quick payout, she really starts to enjoy it and revel in it because she is really good at it. She gets the most calls. She is receiving all these accolades. You know, we have Bob Regular who continues to call. She is building relationships that are not supposed to be there. But I'm finally being praised for who I am and what I can do with my voice, with my body. Like, she kind of still sees it. Well, no, she does. Via her conversation with Jimmy, she sees this as, you know, I'm still acting, I'm still being a different person. She becomes absolutely obsessed with it. She becomes a little arrogant. She doesn't listen to anybody. Everybody surrounding her is doing phone sex, but they are occupying their time in the present with something else. Her, on the other hand, she is just so dedicated to doing a good job and being the best Judy that she can be, that she is doing nothing. And she is getting so involved with these callers to the point that, oh, we ready to roll up on and meet Bob Regular, who she could not see the forest for the trees for. Bob Regular was, you know, oh, I'm calling for my mom. This isn't really sexual. We are bonding on an intimate level to the point that I really want to go down to Coney Island and meet you in person. But in actuality, Bob Regular was getting off on the fact that I could get girl six, I could get Lovely so involved with me on an intimate level as a caller and leave her high and dry. Any step that she took to go beyond the regular service that she was supposed to be performing as a phone sex operator and keeping it business, he cut her off. I want to, you know, talk to you on my own terms about what I want to. And he was just reveling in the fact that he could get her so involved. I, as a guy on the phone, can get you to go to Coney Island and wait for me. And once again, that's us diving right back into acting industry, you know, that misogyny, that transference of power, him getting her, like she was sitting there waiting hard, girl. All I know is, baby, ow, if what we had was good, how come you don't call me anymore? Bob, like, Bob, I know that's you, Bob. Girl, that wasn't Bob. That was not Bob. Just, you know, destroyed her. Like, all of the egg was on her face, y'all. She was on that Ferris wheel. Like, well, I guess Bob, the builder, ain't coming. Girl, no, he's not. He just lusted and lingered in the fact that he could get you to do that. This isn't the same thing, but she was trying to treat it as that. But all of the things that you did not like about Hollywood and acting and the things that they were telling you to do that you were uncomfortable with, you are now doing these things in the phone sex industry. You should not be meeting up with a stranger that you don't know, but just because he told you to and you felt some type of way about him, you went on ahead and did that. Or even when she gets that first call from the man who eventually figures out where she lives and he is just so negative and so disrespectful to her in the worst way, and you have Jennifer Lewis character say, like, yeah, you don't have to do that, you don't have to deal with that, you can hang up, we don't, you know, tolerate disrespect and being degraded, like, you can hang up, you don't have to do that. But with everything that she has been, you know, fed, make it art, you know, make it art, grow up, show me tits. She is now, you know, doing that here, but it's just via phone sex and nobody can physically see her. But that doesn't give people, you know, license to disrespect you. The phone sex part of this movie is where this movie shines the most. when we get into other plots and other characters beyond Judy, it is just like, where did we go? We already covered, Madonna, Naomi. I love the whole, dip drip, and, she got to use her accent, all that good stuff. But yeah, we saw Naomi for that, one moment, and she has on her, cute little model stuck t-shirts, and then we don't really utilize her anymore. But when we get into Isaiah Washington, looking like the chocolate bar with teeth that he is, with a little dip, you better go survive. Her ex-husband here, like the whole plot of their relationship, what exactly were we supposed to do with that? First of all, his character does not even have a name. Strictly listed as shoplifter, and I just found that to be so strange. I can understand the callers and the other women who were in the phone sex industry, but with him supposedly playing, a pivotal part in Judy's life, which he really doesn't, for him to be her ex-husband who could give us, a little more depth into things that she has been dealing with. Because child, I would love to know how you wound up married to a klepto who is stealing everything that moves, but he lives with his mama. Like, just that whole entire dynamic. How did you end up with him? How was the divorce? He is continuing to, kind of beg for her forgiveness, try to get a date. He is constantly showing up, following her around, borderline stalker, the little sexual advances, like that whole thing. Like, but he just really doesn't serve a purpose here. He is just literally here to steal. He is here to steal and stalk, and we don't really get any depth for him or any reason to why we should care about their relationship or them saying goodbye or just any of those things. Like, I just felt like there were so many missed opportunities to not only flesh him out, but even characters like Jimmy. First of all, I am not just a super fan of when Spike Lee plays characters in his movies. Probably after he was Shorty, like I was done with Spike Lee in his movies. Like it just doesn't work as well for me. Like Shorty, Giant and Mobile Blues, Mookie, and Mars, She's Gotta Have It, dope. Everything after that, This was one of those moments for me, but not even just because it's him, but Jimmy doesn't have any depth yet again as a character. He is the neighbor. He is there to kind of pull her back into reality, remind her of her goals. What about acting? What about your monologues? What about auditions? You are so wrapped up in this phone sex that you are forgetting who you are and the people that are surrounding you. It slowed down the movie, and it really didn't serve any purpose at all. And I was just like, oh, we could be somewhere else. We could be somewhere else. But what I did love about those moments with Isaiah Washington is when she finally wants to go out on a date with him. Now, once again, this is Judy placing herself into situations that she doesn't need to be in. It's not as intense as Bob Regular because, of course, this person and he is your ex-husband, but he is a klepto. He ain't about nothing, ain't got nothing, ain't been nothing, and he stays with his mama. What purpose is this date serving? And not to mention that he is pretty much harassing her, stalking her, and coercing her to go on a date with him. It's just, once again, her not really just taking back her power. But the whole conversation of, I didn't know you had it in you, the whole thing of phone sex, like, call me, and it's like, ring, 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 goddammit. Like, I just want to make love to you, sweet daddy, and you're like that Mr. Schlabotnik, and, long, deep hair, dark, sensuous eyes, double D. Like, that whole thing, that is just absolutely incredible. Fucking A. Like, I love that whole dynamic. That is, the satire and the dark comedy that I love about the movie. I love those moments. But then we get right back into the sexual aspect of it. Just because I speak this way to you and we're playing in the restaurant doesn't mean that we get to go outside and you get to put me in a suggestive way by trying to stick my hands down your pants on the side of a building. Like, this is not okay, even if you are my ex or whatever. But then the movie just doesn't make the message clear. Like, are we trying to give life lessons as to say, why are you putting yourself as a woman in these scenarios with these men who are able to treat you in a way that you feel like is unfairly or sexualize you or be suggestive or try to, put your hands and all of this good stuff. And then you have him say, like, what do you expect me to do when you come out? You're talking to me like that. Like, what else am I supposed to think? But then it's just like, why even have him say that if this is supposed to be about her taking her power back? And if I just say, some suggestive shit over a burger, does that automatically mean that you get to fuck me? No, it does not. Like, there's so much to be said about those statements. And you even have her immediately admit to herself, like, I'm dumb as fuck as, you know, for even coming out here with you. Like, why am I even here? Go back home to your mama. Like, regardless of how much cleavage I may have out or how short my dress is. And it's just kind of her finding herself amongst this downward spiral. Speaking of downward spiral, we have this other plot, including Halle Berry, and this young girl who has fallen down a Harlem Projects elevator shaft, and she is severely injured. And we repeatedly see her watching this story and updates on the news. And we have these elevator doors opening, and this blunt fall. And what exactly was that supposed to represent? Now, y'all know Spike will just throw some, like, we just gonna throw that in there with you know, Spike's love for New York, and not only just Harlem, but just you know, as a whole. And how the closest thing I found was Harlem girl falling down an elevator shaft, and she actually died. So I thought that maybe he was trying to, you know, lend an ear to that, you know, get it out there a little bit more, so, you know, hey, say, you know, do something about this. But then we tied this in with her psyche of her falling, like she is putting on these wigs and mimicking all of these black actors that she wants to pay homage. And then we have a really brief moment of her wrapping her head in these bandages to mirror this young girl who was in this accident, just to say that she puts her up there with these people as, you know, somebody she wants to emulate and be as strong as. Or what's this saying, that she was falling and she was breaking down? Just like, what was that? What was that? It just made absolutely no sense, and it just did not tie in. But where it does tie in with her story is, you know, you have been following this little girl, and the family has been asking for, you know, justice, help, donations. And in the end, the money that she has, I don't know if it was all of it, but she makes a sizable donation to the little girl. And it was just kind of like admitting fault. Like, I made this dirty money during phone sex. Let me do something good with it. It was... These are the things that I dislike about this movie, because it was almost like she is being penalized for phone sex. Because not only did that happen, but right before that, even though the trolley shots were on, like, boy, that shot where, you know, Spike Lee pulls, you know, the people along, and that little dog in there in the frame, and they're just moving, and she's just getting all into this despair. At this point, she's not fired, but, you know, you can't do that. You need to go rest. But she is just so dedicated and addicted to not only the praise, but the money, that she is doing phone sex at home. And we have this caller who called her there, and he is not calling her in her home. He knows where she lives. She is, you know, being taunted. She is just being made to just feel despicable, to the point that he tells her to off herself, and she is just losing it, and she just won't hang up. Like, all you have to do is hang up. And then, you know, that's us getting into the power. Like, this is all, you know, on you. You say when. You get to say no. You don't have to deal with this. If you want to hang up, you can hang up. But, you know, we're too busy trying to make it hot. Show him your tits, honey. Do the job. Be Judy. Be good. You are so good at this. You can, you know, get him in a trance. You can get him to climax. You can get him to, you know, fulfill and, you know, live in this fantasy. You're good at this job, unlike, you know, what you are receiving when you are going out for these auditions. So she won't hang up. She is crying. She is spiraling. She is just all over the place. Like, I love the shot. Like, the colors and the lighting in that shot, immaculate. She doesn't wake up until he says, you know, her physical address. Like, I can come find you and do it for you if, you know, you're just like, what the fuck? And she just loses it, at which she just wakes up, and it's like, this is not, you know, the goal that I set out for my life. I still want to be an actress. Let me get, you know, refocus and focus on my plan with, you know, a newfound for who I am, not only as an actress, but as a woman. As a person, I don't have to deal with things I don't want to deal with, things I'm uncomfortable with. I can hang up. I get to say no. I get to set the standard. And not even just that, this caller is shaming her for being in the phone sex industry at all. You must be, you know, a dirty female. You know, you could never do anything for me. You know, you're despicable. That ties into, you know, not letting anybody shame you for your sexual preferences, your choices, who you choose to be with, however many people you choose to be with, and how you choose to, you know, display that. You can own that. You You can hang up. You don't get to do this to me. Problem is, the movie isn't like super clear on these things. Like, if you aren't looking for them and you aren't, trying to connect the dots, and a lot of people are not, dot connectors, you are going to miss all of that. It just feels like this is a whole bunch of mumbo jumbo, and it just really frustrated me that this movie just kind of missed the mark, and it doesn't have a conducive, strict message. You can kind of look at this and see so many different things. Somebody might watch this and saw some shit that I didn't even see. Like, it's just it's pretentious, like I said. Like, okay, all right, bye. But I do register the fact that once she leaves and she goes to Hollywood, when she has, her next vision, Thelma, it's not a fictional character that she idolizes. She is fantasizing about herself and dreaming about, what she can be. She is taking this power back once she meets with the current director, who is allowing her partner that she's interacting with to touch her and try to kiss her. She's like, no, stop, I'm uncomfortable. Or, when it's like, well, I need to see your chest, I need for you to do this, it's required for the role. Okay, well then this is just not the role for me. And she like drops the script. It's like, yes, I have my power back. But we are, I found my power. Like, I'm not, the Judy that I was from the beginning of the film to now, but like, who all got that? Who all got that? Like, they did not make the journey easy. Not that I wanted it to be easy, but damn, like, even, the ending shot in her, saying goodbye to her ex-husband, and it's just kind of supposed to be a moment, and I'm like, what? I don't care about this relationship. I don't care about, any of this. We get a nice, that dolly shot, them moving and saying goodbye, and we get that beautiful shot of them kissing and it raining phones, like the surrealism of the whole thing. And it's just like her relinquishing, letting everything go, and the phone's coming down. I'm leaving you here in that phone sex shot. I don't need none of that. I'm going off to Hollywood to live my best life. Or us kind of learning that her name isn't actually Judy. And so I was like, what? Well, you know what? That just that whole thing, like the role that he played, as well as Jimmy, even Jimmy kind of trying to push her more towards her ex-husband. He misses you, he wants you, just that role that they were playing in her life as men. And low-key, all of this toxicity surrounding her, trying to mold her and, get her to make certain decisions. Every single man here was trash as far as Judy was concerned. But I just wish it was so much clearer so that we could have got a better film. But anyway, if we cannot make believes, maybe we can make some time. Thoughts so creamy, you and me. Erotic city, come alive. We can funk until the dawn, making love till cherries done. Erotic city, can't you see? Thoughts so creamy, you and me. Every time I comb my hair, ow, hit it, bam, bam. Thoughts so you get in my. Okay, all right. That's it, y'all. That's it. Well, you guys, that was my review for Girl 6. Girl 6 was a whole mouthful. Like, man, I just thought we was gonna pull up and be erotic and oyster crackers, quick grits. Like, no, it was never that. It was never that. There was so much more here that I was just like, what, Spike? Why would you do that? Like, regardless of that, I do appreciate so much about this movie. Please drop down and tell me what you did or didn't appreciate. I know some people just feel like, why? Like, this is trash, but there's still so much that I love here, regardless of all of the inconsistencies in the characters, the plot, and the script. I'm still here for the phone sex. I look forward so much to reading you guys' comments. Thank you so much for watching this video. I see you next time. Bye.